Hello to all our listeners and viewers. My name is Rahul Patil, and a big welcome to the Sneakometer podcast today. I'm going to start today's podcast with a very, very big apology. An apology to the Royal Challengers Bangalore team, and an apology to each and every Royal Challengers Bangalore fan. Because, like a lot of other cricket pundits out there, Rahul Patil too wrote y'all off completely from IPL 2024. I did not think RCB had a chance to qualify for the playoffs at all. And why wouldn't we think that? If we look at what y'all have done to get to where y'all have got to, that's the graph on your screen right now. First 8 games, 7 losses, just the one solitary win, sitting on 2 points after 8 games. How have you all managed this? Is probably a paper for research to be done at a university somewhere like Harvard, Oxford, or Cambridge. Sarvesh, great time to bring you in. Can you tell us, did you think this was possible at all?
No, I mean, we all talk about the league table, we talk about the points table and how many points are required. Normally, you'd require 16 points or 14 points with good net run rate. This time, it's 14 points, and RCB at one point they had a net run rate of negative 1.4, 1.5 something. They were the bottom of the table, and to think of this situation where they would win 6 out of 6 and then again regain that net run rate coming from negative 1.5 to going to this positive net run rate. I think it was almost impossible. If you look at all the prediction models, they said they have around 1% chance of qualifying, and that's why we always say that it was improbable, not it was not likely to happen. I mean, it was still possible, they still had a chance, but those chances were like very minute. So that's what they have done. We don't see this happen a lot. I think, in my opinion, I think there were only 2 or 3 seasons once Mumbai Indians have done after losing 4 5 games. RCB themselves have done it before. So I think in this history of IPL, this has happened only twice or thrice. So that's why these moments are very special, where a team plays 6 7 games as if it's their final game. They did not have any other chance because they knew that one more loss and they would be out. So they were playing like that, and from there to reach to this situation, and not just reach to this situation, they knocked out the defending champions in a must win final league game. So that also tells you the kind of mentality that they were carrying.
Absolutely. I mean, just to think about things at the start of the IPL, we were talking about nothing's going right for them. They're not getting runs from Faf, they're not getting runs from Glenn Maxwell. Their bowlers were not doing well. Every overseas bowler, if you remember, they started the tournament with Alzaris
Yeah.
Joseph. He didn't perform well. Then they got Reece Topley, and he didn't perform well. Finally, then they settled on Lockie Ferguson, who also had a bit of an iffy start to the
Yeah.
tournament, and then now he's come into his own. But then Virat Kohli has found his mojo. He's been the one constant factor in all of this, that he was the only one scoring runs.
Yeah.
Rajat Patidar then started delivering for them, and on a consistent basis, I think he went through a phase of having like 550 plus scores throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
Glenn Maxwell started doing a bit with the ball. Will Jacks came in. He was a big influence with the bat at the top order. So much. I mean, there's so much that's happened in those 14 games for this side. Yeah, to see that, how they finally managed to get to where they are is an absolute um, testimony of self-belief, a testimony of being very, very, I'd say, um, mentally very strong. Because as you said, you lose one game, you're out of this, and just to come back from there and treat every game as their last. Yeah, hats off to them. Hats off to all the Bangalore fans sticking by with them. Even though they were losing, we didn't see any sort of they were always being
Yeah.
supported by their fans. That's what you get from Bangalore. And yeah, who knows? I mean, their women have won this time. Could this be the year for the men to
Yeah.
do a repeat? And they're peaking at the right time, because in tournaments like this, we often say this. And look,
Yeah.
Rajasthan Royals is a classic example of a team who was going great guns, and then suddenly 4 losses in a row, and Bangalore comes in, 7 losses out of 8, and then suddenly 6 wins, peaking at the right time. Everybody knows their job,
Yeah.
everybody's performing, and this could just be the year.
Yeah, I mean, if you give this option to all the teams, if you ask them what's the time where you would like your team to pick, I mean, they would say, we would like to pick at the right end of the tournament. Like you said, Rajasthan and Bengaluru, two vastly different examples where Bengaluru have peaked in the later stages, and Rajasthan Royals, they peaked in the earlier stages, and now they are sort of coming together where Rajasthan Royals graph is slightly coming down and RCB's graph is slightly, it's going up. So like they are likely to, they would probably meet at some point, I would say. I mean, because right now, in my opinion, if you ask me, Rajasthan and Hyderabad, they would be thinking that we don't want to face this RCB team in a knockout game. So I think they would look to finish in that top two position. They have too much at stake. They would feel that let's finish in top two. Let's avoid facing this RCB where they are in that kind of, especially Rajasthan Royals, because Hyderabad are still doing great. So I feel Rajasthan, it's very important for them to finish in top two so that they could they could have that extra chance. But in my opinion, right now teams would have liked to face Chennai Super Kings at this point than RCB, because RCB is, like you said, they have peaked at the right time and they are in this momentum where they have won 6 games, and we have seen this often that whenever teams they go on this kind of a run, 5-6 games unbeaten, just forget about the league position. They are fourth at the moment, but nobody likes to face such teams. So it's been that kind of a run. So all the teams from that top three, they would rather think that let's face this team in the later stages, maybe in the final or maybe in the later stages. Let's avoid them facing right now. So I think today we have Rajasthan and Hyderabad playing. In fact, all the three teams playing, and they would Kolkata, their top spot is sealed, but Rajasthan and Hyderabad, they will feel that let's finish in top two and that let's avoid that knockout potential eliminator game against Bengaluru.
Absolutely, another 10 hours, 12 hours, and we should know who will have second and third spot on that table and who will be playing who. We spoke a bit about the glue in this whole Bengaluru side being Virat Kohli, because obviously he's been the one constant factor scoring all those runs. As you can see from the table, top of the table, 708 runs so far from the 14 games. And you can see that from his now Ruturaj's tournament is over, so we've only got Travis Head alive in this tournament at number 3 with 533. So that's about 170 runs ahead of his nearest competitor. This lot of talk about his strike rate over the years. But over 14 games, when you are striking at 155.6 and your average is 64.4, he's had a absolutely gun tournament, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, even last season he scored runs. He scored in excess of 600 runs. But I think this season, if you ask me his contribution, it's a lot more. Mainly because Faf was struggling. Last season he had support of Faf du Plessis, he had support of Glenn Maxwell. This season, let's not forget that these guys have not delivered. Faf in the later stages has done well, but Maxwell hasn't been the Maxwell that we know. And even Cameron Green was in and out of the team. Then Rajat Patidar came in at the right moment. He picked up form at the right moment. But I think it was more about Virat Kohli scoring those runs in the earlier phase. And then right now, if you look at his form, it's again he has started to do that on a regular basis. So I think it was Virat Kohli and then his teammates supporting him from that middle order. So it's that kind of a season, and I think if you see the aggression, if you see his body language in all the games, you will feel that he's not just scoring those runs, he's also giving something extra in the field. So even that thing counts, because right now we'll see that all the 11 players from the team, they are celebrating like Virat Kohli. Their celebrations tell you that they kind of believe that what they are doing, and they sort of feel that they are into some dream run.
Yeah, he used to have that effect on the team when he was captain of the Indian cricket team as well. We used to see a lot of those fist pumping, the chest thumping, a lot of that. One stat that stands out for me on that chart is, apart from the runs, apart from the average, is he is the leading six scorer of IPL 2024. Now, if anyone had to tell me that in a tournament that has Nicholas Puran in it, in a tournament that has Henrik Klaasen in it, in a tournament that has someone like Shivam Dubey in it, that Virat Kohli would be the highest number of sixes, that's just unheard of. What do you put that down to?
So I think this is clearly down to the change in approach that he has been having. Again, normally when you say that somebody has hit no number of sixes, that means that player is not there in the list of number of fours that some player had. So, for example, you'll see Travis Head is leading four hitter, but he is down at number 5 when it comes to hitting sixes. Similar to Nicholas Puran. Nicholas Puran he has second he hit second most number of sixes, but he is not there in the fours leaderboard for most number of fours. So that is something which happens that players like to they are either four hitters or six hitters. You very frequently will see that a player is leading in both the charts, and if somebody is doing that, then that means that player is having a kind of a dream run. And I mean, just look at this table. There are not a lot of players who feature in both the lists. But apart from Virat Kohli, who is first and second in this list, there are not a lot of players who have done this. Only Sunil Narayana is there, 32 sixes and 46 fours. But Travis Head is, of course, there. Abhishek Sharma is not there in the first leaderboard for fours. And then not a lot of players are common in between. So I think that's clearly down to change in approach. And that's change. When we say change in approach, there could be many factors involved in this, but I feel this season inside power play, his approach has changed. Because for entire last season, I think he had hit close to 16 sixes. So now I'll show you this stat. This is from on the left hand side on your screen. You will see his wagon wheel for the inside power play, and this is basically for 2023 season. And on the right hand side, you will see the same for 2024 season. Now, what you will see is he has hit only 4 sixes inside power play last season, right? And now this season he has hit 18 sixes before yesterday's game. So now right now he's on 20 sixes. So this is not common. So clearly he has changed his approach. Clearly he has he feels that batting aggressively inside power play is something which he needs to do a lot. His balls per boundary ratio has also changed. Earlier he was hitting a boundary every fifth ball. Right now that ratio has come down to 4 balls.
Every fourth ball.
Yeah, exactly. And you will see many sixes that he's hitting inside power play. Almost same number of boundaries, but sixes have increased. Last season he hit 16 sixes. Overall, this season he has hit only 20 sixes in just power play phase. So that tells you the kind of mentality that he's carrying, the kind of shift in gears that he has been doing. So overall, I think he has worked out a bit on his game. Overall, he has worked out on his strategy, on his game plan, and I think it's working for him.
Absolutely. I mean, those couple of things that stand out for me in that graphic is the fact that although his dot ball percentage has gone up compared to 2023, but if you see the balls per boundary, that means he is taking more risk now in that power play, which is definitely paying off. I mean, we always knew he's had all the shots. So it's just a matter of him kind of getting his head in the right frame of mind to kind of execute all those shots that he has in the power play as well. So apart from that, let's have a quick look at what happened in the game itself, because it was a 20-over game, but it felt like such a long game because of the rain break in between and everything. It started at 2 o'clock in New Zealand time, and then by the time it finished, it was almost 7 o'clock here. So a very, very long T20 game. RCB batting first, 218 for 5. Now remember, CSK only had to get to 201 to qualify. So even if they lost, and they lost by a lesser margin, they had a chance to go in through. Once again, we see they've got to 218, but there's not one big score that everybody has contributed. So Faf has contributed with the 50, Kohli has contributed with the 47, Rajat Patidar with the 41, Cameron Green with the 38, and not to forget 2 other contributions at the end, one from Glenn Maxwell and one from DK. Which has got them to 218 for 5, which is an absolutely in a big game, in a knockout game, in a must-win game, that total, even though it is at one of the smallest grounds and probably one of the most difficult grounds to defend totals, I still thought 218 was a very good score on that ground.
Yes, I mean, at one point, if you remember that rain break and after what happened after the rain break, because RCB were going all guns blazing before the rain break. And after the rain break, we saw the pitch actually changed a bit. It felt like it's a day 4, day 5 test match pitch where ball was spinning viciously. we would Santner and Tikshana, they were bowling. They were bowling those lines. They were looking to spin the ball, and not often you will see this, that the spinners are actually looking to spin the ball and giving that grip, giving those revs, and they were doing that. I mean, there were plenty of plays and misses in that little phase from over number 4 to over number 6 or 7. But I think that was the crucial time where Virat and Faf sort of controlled that phase. I mean, I know there were a lot of plays and misses, but they were sort of in control in their own way, that they did not lose any wickets, because it was pretty. I mean, it was possible that they could have lost 2 or 3 quick wickets in that phase, and that would have changed the entire complexion of the game. They would have ended up getting 190 instead of 218. So I think that was that little phase of 3 to 4 overs. That was a very critical phase where Virat and Faf actually controlled that phase well. They realized what is happening, and they realized the importance of keeping their wickets intact. So I think credits to these two guys. Again, like you rightly said, only 47, 40, 54. I mean, not a lot of big scores there, but contributions from everyone. And I think in a game like this, you need such kind of scoreboards where everyone from the top 6, they contributed in their own way. Strike rates at the bottom, all in excess of 200. That tells you that, kind of mentality that everyone was carrying. They were just looking to come in and make their contributions, and they were not afraid of losing their wickets. They were just looking to score runs. So I think it's great to see, because in a high pressure game, it's not that easy to do it.
Fearless cricket is what RCB played today on the night. We compare that with CSK's tactics, though, against them. And just a few questions around that bowling card, if you can bring that up for us. We know that both Faf and Virat kind of have a bit of a struggle against spin at the start of their innings. Um, CSK had 3 spinners in their side. They had Mahesh Tikshana, they had Mitchell Santner, they had Ravindra Jadeja.
And Rachin Ravindra, the 4th spinner option.
And the 4th spinner, Rachin Ravindra. Do you think they missed a trick there? Because in those initial overs, I would have really liked them to start with a spinner. Someone like a Mitchell Santner, maybe, who's very accurate, who keeps it on a string and can really trouble. Against left-arm spinners, we know that, the matchups for Virat and Faf are quite favorable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the quality of. Not a lot of teams have such spin quality available with them. Just not. Let's just go to RCB's team. They have Karan Sharma, and they had, I think, Swapnil
Singh.
That's all. I mean, Karan Sharma is an experienced campaigner, but again, Swapnil is not that experienced. But look at his team. They had all the experience. They had all the quality spinners available to them. I think when the pitch was sort of in favor of the spinners, I felt. And again, Shardul Thakur is not somebody you would relate a lot with that new ball. I know he can swing the ball. I know he's a good test match bowler as well. He can do that. But I think you would normally keep him for the middle over stage or for the back end, somewhere around that phase. But opening with Shardul, I think they probably could have used Tushar Deshpande's 2 overs up front, and then could have brought in Mitchell Santner or even Tikshana in that phase. They missed that trick, because I felt that Shardul Thakur's over, where that sort of gave away the momentum that Tushar Deshpande built in that first over. So I think that's where the game started. That's where they gave that momentum to RCB. That's where I think they got that real kick on, and then again that rain break happened, and then the spinners came in. But I think before that they were 32 runs from 3 overs, somewhere around that. I feel they could have controlled that 3 overs phase in a bit better manner. They could have probably got 1 or 2 wickets there had they gone ahead with spinners like Mitchell Santner, like you said. So I think they missed a trick there.
I wonder if during the rain break, when they got together, they kind of said, hang on, what are we doing? We've got these spinners in our side.
Yeah.
These guys are not, they're going great guns against the fast bowlers. We need to get them in. And that's what happened. But yeah, probably a case of the horse had already bolted by then. And Virat and Faf could just take it that much a bit easier, because we saw there were 2 overs there where I think 2 or 3 runs were scored. As soon after the rain break, but yeah, they could afford to do that because of the fact that they'd got off to a great start. Let's move on to the run chase, because as we said, CSK only had to get to 201. One question I have for you is, when we see run chases like this, where there is a target to win the game and there's a target to qualify, it must be muddling up your mind a lot of time, because we see a lot of teams getting caught up in this conundrum wherein, should I go for the win? Should I go for the qualification? Should I go for the win? Should I go for the qualification? And then you end up losing both. And we've seen this in the past. Do you think
Yeah.
CSK is kind of got caught up in that too?
In such situation, I will give you one example. Let's go back to that Desert Storm innings that Sachin played. That in that innings, he was actually going for the win. They never
Yeah.
sort of thought of getting to that bonus point or getting to that reaching the final. They were actually thinking of winning that match. And once he got out, then I think it was VVS and I think all those guys came in, and then they sort of consolidated and they felt that okay, let's just focus on getting to that final match, and then let's take it from there. So I think the first reaction, it has to be winning. It has to come down to winning the game, and then if something like this happens, then you get down to just getting to that position where you just get to that final or get to that next stage. I feel that they started well. They did not start well. Ruturaj guy losing your captain on the first ball sort of is a setback. And then Daryl Mitchell again got out, and they would have required. They would have felt that Daryl Mitchell was the one who could have given them that early boost, and that did not happen. And I felt this was the particular stage where they would have felt okay. Now let's not go for the win. Probably they would have felt there, but I still feel that they were going for that win till that point. And I think when Ajinkya Rahane and Rachin Ravindra had that partnership going on, at this point I felt they were still thinking of winning the game, because that's what you need to do. And then once Ajinkya Rahane got out and when Shivam Dube came in, and once he was finding it difficult to get going, and I think that was the phase that they would have probably felt that okay, now let's just focus on getting to the next stage. And I think that was that little phase in the middle where Shivam Dube got stuck. I think they sort of changed their mind, and I think that was the turning point of the game.
Yeah, I mean, when Rachin and Rahane were playing and I was watching, I was thinking, yeah, they're still in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
They are in with a chance of winning this because they've got big hitters down the order. Like Shivam Dube was there. Dhoni's going great guns with the bat, and so I thought they've got enough firepower there towards the end to kind of make up. It was that partnership between Dube and Rachin Ravindra
yeah,
that kind of made me feel, hang on, because Dube wasn't hitting it
yeah,
as cleanly as he normally does. I just thought 219 might be a stretch, so they might just look at the qualification thing. But yeah, that run out of Rachin
yeah,
Ravindra, I mean, he was playing beautifully, saved his best for the last, as we say, his best innings of IPL 2024, coming under pressure. And he just looked like he was in the zone. And but there was two there.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know why he hesitated
yeah,
because Dube made his end comfortably, and Rachin would have made his end as well if he had
yeah.
ran without
That's what I
hesitating.
feel, because Shivam Dube is not the fastest. If you remember, this season they have used him mainly as impact sub because they feel that he's probably not their best fielder. They feel that he's just better off doing the batting in the middle of a phase. That's his role. So if he could complete that single, if he could complete that double, in fact, I feel Rachin Ravindra could have easily done that. But I think he was in two minds. He was never thinking about that second run, and Dube he always had that second run in his mind. I don't know why they lost communication there, because Dube just ran. He was just running. He wasn't even looking at Ravindra. So I think something happened there. Ravindra just stood there. He was just looking at Dube, and when he started running, I think it was already too late, because Dube had already crossed him, and he just had to run there, and he just had to sacrifice his wicket. I felt there was easy, like you said, there was two available there, but I think something happened in something. Ravindra must have felt that it is not two, or he must have. I don't know what happened, but it was easy two there.
Yeah, I mean, you could see when he was walking off, he gave Shivam Dube a bit of a
Yeah,
nod, and he said, "Sorry, that's my fault.
yeah,
It's not on you," kind of a thing.
yeah,
So you got the feeling that yeah, he missed one there. But yeah, who knows? If he had stuck around, maybe we could have
yeah,
had a different result.
yeah,
Um, it was always going to be difficult, when it's not often that you see a strike rate of 46.7
yeah,
against the name of Shivam Dube,
yeah,
and it was always going to be difficult. But good knock from Ravindra Jadeja, and the reason I say that is in the context of the whole
yeah.
India in the World Cup scenario. We've been talking about Ravindra Jadeja's form with the bat. This innings would give him a lot of confidence
Yes.
to kind of go into that World Cup feeling, look, I can be that finisher down the order that Team India needs.
Yeah, I mean, when CSK were bowling, I felt Jadeja let them down, because the wicket had something for the spinners. If you look at his bowling figures, I think he gave away somewhere close to 40
40 and
runs.
3.
Yeah, yeah, from 3 overs. So that's not good. That's not good enough from an experienced pro like Ravindra Jadeja. I feel that he could have done better. Had he picked up 1 or 2 wickets there, I mean, it was CSK's game to lose from that point, but that did not happen. So again, now coming to his batting, I think finally, I felt he did well there. Even at the later stages, where in last 2 balls they needed 10 runs, I felt like, okay, this is going in a very similar manner to last season's final, where they required 10 runs from 2 deliveries, and Jadeja sort of finished that game for them. I felt Jadeja, I think he finally came to the party with his bat. I mean, he has scored runs before, but I think these runs were pretty crucial for them. It could have gotten them into the knockouts. So I feel, like you said, right, a good contribution from Jadeja, good from the perspective of India's World Cup hopes. I think Jadeja would feel a lot better after this particular knock, because, like I said, he sort of struggled with the ball.
Well, no discussion about CSK can be finished without talking about MS Dhoni himself. Once again, and I'll tell you what I was thinking of when I was watching the game. My mind went back to 2019, India versus New Zealand, that semi-final,
Yeah,
where MS Dhoni got run out. And until that point, India was still in the game,
yeah,
and you thought Dhoni is going to take us home, like he
yeah,
always does. But he got run out there, and you could see the anguish on his face on that day as well,
yeah,
And today also, he hit that first ball from Yash Dayal for six. In fact, he didn't hit it for six; he hit it for 12, because that's how far it went. But yeah, that second ball that he didn't time and he got out, and you don't see this often from MS Dhoni, but he
yeah,
hit his gloves on his bat as if to say, should have, should have,
yeah,
should have got the team over the line here.
yeah. I mean, that six was 110 meters, and let's. I mean, that went out of the ground, and they had to change the ball, and for the next 5 deliveries, I think Yash Dayal, he had a slightly newish looking ball, which was obviously not that wet, because let's not forget there was plenty of the ball was wet because of the rains. So I feel that they were finding it difficult to grip. We saw some animated discussion between Virat, Faf, and the umpires, where umpires were not ready to change the ball, and Virat and Faf felt that, okay, they need to change the ball because it's too wet. I felt in the end that six sort of helped RCB, because immediately after that, after they changed the ball, Yash Dayal went back to his strength, which is bowling that back of the hand slower ball, and he did that, and he got MS out on the next delivery. I mean, I felt, this is a classic case of fortunes. What could happen? I mean, it was looking good for MS, and suddenly after that they changed the ball. It was looking in favor of Yash Dayal. So I mean, these things can happen, but I mean, Dhoni would have still 11 runs from 5 balls. I felt that Dhoni could have he had it covered in my opinion, but yes, Dayal, I mean, he had to just, I don't know. I mean, after the sort of season that he had last season, last 1 year, that he has been having a difficult period. So I think finally got something in his favor. He bowled very good over to MS after that, because it's not easy when you are hit for six, and MS is batting at the other end, and you have only 11 runs to defend. It's not easy. Mainly at a venue like Bangalore, where the boundaries are not that huge. I felt he did a very good job there, and I think I don't want to comment on if this was MS's last game. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think Yash Dayal, I think he did a splendid job there.
Yeah, knowing MS, I don't think even he knows yet
Yeah,
whether this is his last game. He'll probably just decide it
yeah,
while having a cup of tea tomorrow morning, or a coffee the next day. It's such a team sport. We talk about cricket being a team sport, but it's also such an individual sport. I mean, such a story with Yash Dayal, with what he
yeah,
went through at the hands of Rinku Singh, and all the negative stuff he read about himself on social media, really kind of fell off the rails for a bit. But good to see him come back. Good to see him in a similar situation and delivering for his side and winning a game. Just goes to show that no 2 days are the same.
yeah,
As long as you keep at what you keep trying and keep working hard, you will have your moment in the sun
yeah,
at some stage or the other. Well, that's the story from here, is that RCB, match number 68, after being 7 losses out of 8, have turned things around, and they have qualified for the playoffs. They now wait to see who they're going to play. Is it going to be either Rajasthan or Hyderabad? We'll know that it'll be based on the results of tonight's games. We've got, first of all, I think it is Hyderabad taking on Punjab
Punjab,
in
yeah.
game number 1.
Yes.
So if Hyderabad win that game, then they will go into second place, and then Rajasthan has to win
Yeah.
against Kolkata if they won that second place.
Yeah.
So lots to play for. It's not often that a league comes to its last game with the top 4 not decided going into the playoffs. So just goes to show that the IPL once again
Yeah.
providing all the drama, all the excitement towards the end of the tournament. Um, w- any any predictions? Any sort of things to look out for in tonight's games?
I think KKR now they have sealed the top spot. They could look to rest few of their key players. I think they could easily get in players who haven't been getting chances. So they could try their French players. They could, because this is the sort of time where you look to where you should give chances to your bench players, because they haven't been supporting you from throughout the tournament. So I think they could look to do that. Just rest your key players. Just maybe give rest to Russell, or maybe some of your key batters. Look to get in maybe Anukul Roy or some of your bowlers who haven't been playing so far. And I think this is just one philosophy. This is one just method that I would think that they would go ahead. But knowing Gambhir and what he likes to do, I won't be surprised if they just go with the flow, and if they just play the strongest team that they have, so that they could just carry the momentum. Because we just discussed what RCB did with all that momentum, so they could just feel that, okay, let's just do what we have been doing. Let's just keep playing and let's just keep winning games. So if they do that, I think RR are anyways going to find it very difficult, because they have lost 4 matches in a row, and now the last match is against the league leaders. It's not going to be an easy game, and I think if they have to qualify in top 2, they will have to win this game. And again, now coming to Hyderabad, I think they will have to do their bit, because their game is first. So they will have to win that game, and then they will hope that Kolkata will do a favor for them, and then they will defeat Rajasthan. So I think Hyderabad, they will look to do what they want to do there in that game against Punjab. Punjab is again having some issues with their overseas players now. Even Sam Curran has gone back. Now I think they have only about couple of players available with them, a couple of overseas players available with them, because I think all the English players have gone back, and Rabada has gone back. So I think they have Ellis and probably who else is there? Probably just 2 or 3 players, overseas players. So I think they are going to find it very difficult. Jitesh Sharma is going to captain the side. So again, he has something to prove. He has been having a difficult season. So I think even in the last day of league stage games, plenty of things to look after. I think Punjab, they will like to finish the campaign again on a high, because we see this. We keep saying that teams don't like to end a season on this note. We have seen what happened with Mumbai. They kept losing, and even they finish on a very low note. So I think Punjab would like to win on a high. They could actually match Gujarat's tally of 12 points, and they will feel that, okay, now let's say that they win this game. Let's say that they get to 12 points, then they will feel that they finished just 2 points below the team which qualified for the top 4. So that
Absolutely.
also helps them mentally. So I think they have everything to play for. I mean, they can just go out there and perform.
I was just going to say that if they win tonight, their net run rate's better than Gujarat, so they'll
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
8th, and
yeah.
they'll be telling themselves, "Hey, we were one game
No,
away
no,
from actually."
They won't. Yeah, they would go to 8, and they will just slightly finish, because their net run rate is. In fact, they can get.
Yeah,
It is better than even Delhi, who's sitting at number 6. So if they
exactly. So
finish,
they'll be telling
yeah,
themselves that if we have one more game of ours,
yeah,
and remember they were part of probably the most
yeah, close
closest
games. Yeah,
close games that we had in this IPL.
yeah,
So it's not all doom and gloom for them. So I'm sure they'll be trying their best to kind of win.
yes,
Another thing important is Kolkata going to be without Phil Salt today.
yeah,
So there'll be a forced change at the top of that order.
yeah.
Rajasthan already have lost Joss Butler, so they've already learned to live with the and play without him. So yeah, lots of interesting combinations and permutations to look forward to in both of tonight's games. Well, anything else to add, Sarvesh, before we wind up?
No, that's it. I think the final league stage day, 70 games. This was 68th game. I think we are closing on to 70th game. So I think this has been a season. I think it's if you remember, at the end of 45th game, we were discussing that probably the top four is sealed, and we would probably have just
Yeah.
20 games where we would just think of this the combinations of who would finish first and third and second, instead of talking about who would finish in top four. So I think I think this season has been a special one, because when you see team like team which was sitting at the bottom, when they go on a run and they finish in top four, I think it always becomes a special season. Because that gives you hope. Because even let's say even if RCB they don't go on to win this tournament, I hope for their fans that they do well. But let's say even if they don't do well after from this point, I think they've already done a fabulous job. Because if you remember 2014, that Aditya Tere 6 against Rajasthan Royals. I
Yeah.
think nobody talks about from what happened after that match, because they were knocked out immediately after that game. But people still remember that game where they sort of came in from an improbable situation, and then they qualified. So I think it's about those moments, and RCB have already given plenty of such moments. So I think they will take a lot of confidence from here, and even if they don't win this tournament from here, I think they will feel a lot better. They would feel that they have done a very good job. I mean, I'm not saying that they are not going to win, but even if they sort of have a bad day from here on, I think they have done a fabulous job. They are a team, in my opinion. If you at the end of the season, if you sit and decide who is there in your team or team of the season, I think there will be a lot of RCB players in that.
Well, they've done 6 out of 6. They just need to do 9 out of
9 out of
9
9,
if
yeah.
they want 9 out of 9 if they want to win this tournament, and they will be telling themselves three more,
It's
and
possible,
we
yeah.
will be lifting that trophy.
Yeah.
In a week's time, we'll know who's going to be getting their hands on it. Well, that's all from the Sneakometer podcast tonight. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Do it right now. Follow us on our social media handles and give us a like, share, and comment. We will be back with you. I think hopefully tomorrow. No, maybe on the first of the eliminators, because tomorrow's games, even though they are important as far as the placings are concerned, they're not very consequential on who's going to make the playoffs. So we might be back with you on the first qualifier, which is going to be between KKR and one other team, which we'll find out tonight. But until then, it's goodbye from Rahul and Sarvesh, and keep watching, and we will be back with you soon. Thank you so much.